dawn is approaching. The world is still shrouded in silence, and the breeze gently caresses the sleeping rooftops. In these early hours, every thought, every intention, every breath becomes a unique opportunity to draw closer to Allah. This is the time when the veil between you and the divine light is thinnest, when your heart can fully open to remembrance, and when blessing can descend upon your life and your home. Before the hustle and bustle of the day begins, before worries and distractions swallow you up, an invitation awaits you. SALAT AL-FAJR is not just another prayer. It is a light that illuminates your steps, a source that purifies your heart, an act of submission that attracts Allah's mercy to every moment of your day. The Quran says, "Indeed, it is through the remembrance of Allah that hearts find tranquility." Surah 13:28. And the Prophet said, "Prayer is a light." Muslim. Today we will discover together how this light, offered first thing in the morning, can transform your heart, guide your choices, and bless your home. Every rak'ah, every invocation, every moment spent at far is a seed you plant for peace, protection, and divine guidance. Will you be among those who begin their day under the light of Allah, or will you let the world extinguish that flame before the sun even rises? Allah said, "Indeed, it is through the remembrance of Allah that hearts find tranquility." Surah 13:28. This seemingly simple verse contains infinite depth. It indicates not only that remembrance soothes the soul, but that it is the very source of serenity, the water that quenches the thirsty heart in the desert of the world. Every morning, when the darkness of night slowly gives way to light, you stand at the crossroads. Follow the fleeting attractions of the world or extend your heart to the one who never fails. The FAJR prayer is the golden thread that connects man to his Creator. It is not a mere ritual obligation. It is the first encounter of the day with divine guidance. When you place your forehead on the ground, your lips utter the words of praise, your heart calms, your mind purifies, and every thought begins to be shaped by the light of Allah. Even before the world awakens, prayer prepares your soul to receive blessings, endure hardships, and walk the path of righteousness. The Quran continues by reminding, "Whoever puts his trust in Allah, He is sufficient for him." Surah 65:3. Every breath of FAJR becomes a testament to this confidence. When you surrender to this certainty, the weight of doubt is lifted, and the anxiety of daily life loses its grip. Your heart is no longer tossed about by fears, regrets, or desires. It finds stability in the hand of Allah, who guides and protects. Home, hearth, relationships, and even the decisions of the day are touched by this invisible light that emanates from remembrance. Think of this moment. The world is still silent, the sky tinged with soft shades between night and dawn, and your mind is open. This silence becomes a mirror. Every thought can be contemplated, every intention verified. The soul, when anchored in dhikr, becomes like a calm lake. It reflects divine light, absorbs clarity, and lets go of darkness. FAJR is this mirror, the point of contact between creator and creature, between the visible and the invisible. The Quran calls man to rise for these sacred moments. In the stories of the pious we find this discipline. Even if the body is tired, if the world is still asleep, the heart finds strength because it is turned towards Allah. Every word recited, every prostration, every breath becomes a precious stone in the soul's treasury, a silent testimony of fidelity and faith. How many times, in the rush of business, worries, or fleeting pleasures, have we ignored this moment? How many times have we allowed sleep, distraction, or negligence to deprive us of this light that could illuminate every hour of our lives? The remembrance of Allah is never exhausted, it never weakens. And yet, it depends on our conscience, our choice, and our discipline. FAJR is also a reminder that time waits for no one. The first hours of the day are a gift, a privilege that the Creator bestows every day. The attractions of the world can be seductive: wealth, pleasures, comfort, or entertainment. But lasting peace is not found in what passes away, it is found in what never fades, in the remembrance of Allah. Do you seek tranquility in the ephemeral, in illusions and distractions, or do you seek it in the remembrance of Allah, that light that never fades, that certainty that never deceives? When you understand this truth, every action of the day becomes conscious. You no longer move like an automaton in the tumult of the world. Your heart is centered, your mind is alert, and your home becomes a place of peace and blessing. FAJR is no longer an obligation, but an anchor, a haven, a bridge between the human heart and infinite guidance. Imagine the power of this moment repeated day after day. Every morning you plant a seed of serenity. Each prostration purifies, each invocation uplifts, and each breath lifts you closer to the light. This discipline, if consistent, transforms not only your mind but your home, your relationships, and the very quality of your life. The light of far awaits you. Peace of heart is offered to those who rise up for it. The choice is yours. Scatter your soul in illusions or anchor it in the remembrance of Allah. The Prophet said, "Prayer is a light." Muslim. These words are not simply a metaphor. They are a guide, a tangible truth that can transform every moment of your life. The light he speaks of doesn't just illuminate the outside, it illuminates your inner path, your heart and your mind. It guides you in your choices, your words and your actions. Even when the world around you is plunged into darkness, when doubts and worries seek to overwhelm you, this light remains. It never dims, it never goes out. Every morning, the light of far is offered to those who rise for it. If you ignore this sacred moment, if you let sleep or distractions hinder you, you enter the day without light. Your decisions become unclear, your relationships vulnerable to misunderstanding, and your trials seem heavier. The light of prayer is not a mere ritual. It is protection, guidance, and purification, available to anyone who turns to Allah with sincerity. Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, report que le prophète dit, "The home where Allah is remembered illuminates for the inhabitants of the heavens, as the stars shine for the inhabitants of the earth." Consider this. Every word spoken in dhikr, every prostration, every rakah is observed and accepted by Allah, and recorded by the angels. Your house, your home, your living space is transformed into a place of invisible light. Even before the sun rises, this light is already present, illuminating the hearts of those within it and offering them guidance and protection for the day ahead. Far is not just an individual act. It is a connection that touches your home and those around you. When you stand in prayer, you don't just touch your own heart. You draw blessing and serenity to all those who live with you. This light, though invisible to the naked eye, becomes perceptible through the stillness, patience, and clarity of decision that emerge after prayer. Each rakah of far is a lamp. Each prostration purifies your heart of the invisible burdens of doubt, anger, or worry. Every breath becomes a testimony of faith and submission. Even if no one sees your effort, even if the world ignores this sacred moment, Allah sees it, and the angels bear witness. The light of far does not depend on applause or human recognition. It unfolds simply because you stand before your Creator with sincerity. Think about the importance of this light in your daily life. How many times have rushed decisions or actions driven by stress led to regret? How many conflicts, misunderstandings, and frustrations would have been avoided if your heart had been enlightened from the morning? The light of prayer is not only spiritual, it is practical, tangible, and protective. It lights the way through difficulties, it illuminates your judgment, and it illuminates your behavior with others. This light is also a constant reminder, you are never alone. Even in times when everything seems dark and silent, you are in Allah's care. Angels are watching over you, recording your actions and bearing witness to your commitment. There is no darkness that can resist this light, no worry that cannot be soothed by the divine presence. Prayer is that invisible flame that burns in your heart and guides your steps even before the day begins. What does it mean to begin your day without light? Every moment spent away from far is a wasted moment, a moment in which the darkness of ignorance, anxiety, and forgetfulness can take hold. But every time you stand up, recite your supplications, and place your forehead in prostration, you rekindle that flame, reaffirm your connection with the Creator, and create a protective barrier against the shadow of the lost soul. The Prophet gave us this gift, and each far is a renewed opportunity. The light is not merely symbolic. It is real, perceptible in the inner peace, clarity of mind, and serenity that accompany those who stand in obedience and dhikr. The discipline of far transforms fatigue into energy, confusion into certainty, and fear into courage. Do your home and your heart shine with this light, or do they remain in shadow before the sun even rises? If the light of far is not lit, how will you navigate the day? And if you choose it, how many blessings can reach you before the world even wakes up? Ibn Qayyim, may God have mercy on him, said, "The heart without dhikr is like a fish out of water." Think about this for a moment. A fish out of water cannot survive. It struggles, gasps, and searches for a breath of life that never comes. In the same way, the human heart, deprived of the remembrance of Allah, loses its source of life, its spiritual breath. Every breath becomes heavy, every thought becomes scattered, and the soul suffocates in the dryness of forgetfulness. How many times, without even realizing it, have we allowed our hearts to dry out through negligence, distraction, or indulgence in the fleeting pleasures of this world? Dhikr is not simply a repetitive ritual practice. It is not a mechanism performed to check a box. Dhikr is breath. It is life. It is direction. Every word spoken with sincerity, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allah Akbar, becomes a breath of fresh air for the soul, a light in the darkness, an anchor in the storm of thoughts and emotions. It cleanses the heart of the shadow of doubt, dispels the residue of anger and envy, and stabilizes the mind by connecting it to the Creator. Imagine your heart as a garden. Without water, flowers wither, trees die, and the soil becomes barren. Dhikr is the water that nourishes, the sun that illuminates, and the gentle wind that breathes through the branches. Without it, even the noblest intentions wither, and the soul becomes vulnerable to the poisons of ego, forgetfulness, and distraction. Each reminder spoken with awareness is a drop of water that brings this inner garden back to life. Dhikr has a tangible effect on the will. It strengthens decisions, clarifies the conscience, and makes the mind vigilant against the pitfalls of distraction. It is not enough to pronounce words mechanically. One must feel them, live them, let them resonate in the heart like a constant echo that connects every thought to Allah. The act then becomes a dialogue, a shared breath between the soul and the Creator. Think about it. How many times have you felt this inner dryness? How many times have your decisions, emotions, or actions been empty because you let your heart drift into oblivion? And how many times, after a simple moment of dhikr, have you felt your mind stabilize, your heart fill, and your outlook on the world become clearer? Dhikr is also a guide for every step of life. It illuminates moments of doubt, calms crises, and soothes fears that arise. Every mention of Allah's name acts like a beacon that illuminates the recesses of the soul and connects it to the infinite source of peace and strength. This is why even a few daily moments of remembrance, taken with sincerity, can transform your entire existence. Does your heart live in dhikr, breathing with every word spoken, or is it like a fish out of water, suffocating in forgetfulness of the Creator? Reflect on your daily life. Moments of distraction, scattered thoughts, and overwhelming worries are all signs that your heart needs to catch its breath. Dhikr is the oxygen that returns to the soul, the silent force that restores clarity and serenity. It transforms fear into confidence, uncertainty into certainty, and fatigue into spiritual energy. The philosophy of dhikr also teaches us constancy. Like a breath that never stops, remembrance must be regular. Each mention of Allah is a step on the path to purification. Each breath becomes a thread connecting the heart to heaven. Even in the midst of the day's activities, even in the noise and bustle, dhikr allows the soul to remain immersed in its element. Dhikr is not only beneficial for the individual heart, it spreads and influences your entire environment. A heart filled with remembrance radiates serenity, inspires kindness, and soothes those around it. Forgetfulness, on the other hand, attracts tumult, tension, and restlessness. Thus, the choice to nourish the heart through dhikr becomes an act of transformation for you and those around you. Dhikr is a simple act, but its effect is profound and lasting. It is the breath of the soul, the light that never fades, and the guide that never deceives. Every word spoken with sincerity is a vital breath, a bridge between you and your Creator. The Prophet's companions did not rise simply to perform a ritual or check off an obligation. They understood that these early hours of the day, before the world awakened its distractions and noise, were sacred. They were a unique opportunity to anchor their hearts in the remembrance of Allah, to purify their minds, and to receive unseen guidance before worldly affairs assailed their attention. Omar ibn al-Khattab, may God be pleased with him, said, "The greatest wealth of a man is his heart alive with the remembrance of Allah." This sentence is not mere advice, it is a practical teaching. True wealth lies not in gold, power, or status, but in an awakened, alive heart conscious of the Creator. The early morning hours are a treasure that the Sahaba exploited to the fullest. Before the sun shone on the markets, before the voices of men disturbed the silence, they devoted themselves to prayer, dhikr, and meditation. This time was a protection against the hustle and bustle of the day, a time to strengthen the soul and clarify intentions. Abu Bakr and Ali faithfully prayed at dawn, even in the most difficult situations. Whether during tiring journeys, in the trials of war, or under the pressure of daily life, they never missed far. Their constancy was not a mechanical constraint, it was an intimate encounter with Allah. Each prostration at dawn became a source of light, a shield against the coming tumult, and a strength that shaped their courage, patience, and discernment. Imagine the lives of these men. Their days were not made easier by comfort or technology. They were full of challenges, responsibilities, and conflicts. Yet they always found time to rise before sunrise, because they knew that the victory of the day began with far. Every action they took after this prayer was guided by the light of the divine encounter. Decisions were wiser, words more just, and hearts calmer. Their FAR discipline was not an isolated act. It formed a habit, a rhythm of life, a silent commitment to Allah. It taught that true strength lies not in physical power or control over others, but in self-control and connection with the Creator. The time devoted to prayer and dhikr before sunrise gave them the clarity and consistency needed to face the trials, temptations, and responsibilities that arose throughout the day. The practice of the Sahaba also shows us that spiritual discipline and wisdom are not dependent on circumstances. Whether in prosperity or adversity, they maintained this vital connection with Allah. Their commitment teaches us that consistency is key. It is not a one-off intensity that transforms the soul, but the regularity of the light of FAR that is kindled day after day. How many times have we sacrificed these precious hours for sleep, distraction, or ignorance? How many times have we allowed the tumult of the world to consume our spiritual energy before we have even nourished our souls? The companions show us the way. Strength begins before daybreak in the silence and light of the first prayer. Their example also inspires courage. It is not easy to get up when the comfort of a warm bed beckons one to stay. It is not easy to dedicate time to prayer when the world offers distractions and entertainment. But the spiritual discipline of the Sahaba shows that this sacrifice of sleep and the present moment is an investment in the day, in the soul, and in one's entire life. Every minute spent in dhikr and prostration prepares the heart to act with justice, patience, and mercy in all the affairs of the day. Their lives remind us that FAR is not an isolated obligation. It is the beginning of an inner transformation. It establishes a rhythm of consciousness, a constancy in the connection with Allah, and an invisible force that accompanies every step. The companions proved that the soul awakened at dawn is a force greater than any external obstacle. Their victory over the day was inevitable, for they began with the Master of time and guidance. Will you follow their example and nourish your soul before the tumult of the day consumes it? Will you be able to transform your first hours into light, to make each FAR a victory over distraction and forgetfulness? If the heart rises before the world, how many blessings could reach your day even before the sun shines fully? Their story teaches us that spiritual discipline is both a refuge and a weapon. It protects the soul from turmoil, prepares the heart to act wisely, and transforms everyday life into a sacred space where divine guidance becomes perceptible. The companions show us that victory is not only external but internal. It begins in the heart that awakens before dawn, turns to Allah, and finds in prayer the strength to face all else. Dawn is a flame and dhikr is the breath that fans it. Every prostration, every invocation is a spark that illuminates your heart. The Prophet said, "The 2 rak'ahs of FAR are better than this world and all that is in it." Muslim, think of your soul as a lamp. If it is nourished by prayer, it shines in the darkness, lighting your path and warming your spirit. If it is neglected, even sunlight cannot fill its void. Will you be the guardian of this inner light, or will you let darkness dominate your heart before the day even begins?